to new adventures with her darling husband Tim.
Welcome to our training video on how to teach a child to write. Thank you for being interested in teaching a child to write. We are Tim and Gail Brosnahan. We live in Salt Lake City, Utah. We are the parents of 10 children. I have had a valid Utah teaching license since I was 21 years old, taking classes in education at Brigham Young University, University of California at Northridge, and the University of Utah for the last 57 years. I spent most of my career teaching third grade. My passion for teaching made me determine that every child would leave my classroom reading and knowing how to write. After retiring, my husband and I spent years tutoring children in reading. These experiences have led us to develop reading programs and this writing program that we are sharing with you. There are 3 reading training videos that we are offering. The first one is on how to teach a first-time reader. The second training video is on how to teach a child to read who is reading below grade level. And the third training video is on how to increase a child's reading fluency and comprehension.
Since retiring from my profession, I have been volunteering as a substitute in our local high schools in German and math. I also have been tutoring children in reading with Gail since her retirement as an elementary school teacher. We belong to My Hometown Initiative, a local organization that we are very proud of. They serve our community with organized service days and a community resource center that offers free classes in ESL, English lessons, finance, reading, and piano lessons. Our responsibility is to teach adults how to teach children to read and write. Since reading and writing are reciprocal, we thought we would share how Gail taught children to write when she taught elementary school. Accompanying this PowerPoint presentation is a pamphlet available to you at no cost by going to our website, teachingstrategiesthatwork.com.
Before we begin this presentation, I want to share a philosophy of education that I feel strongly about, and so does all the scientific research confirm. Children are more motivated to learn if they are interested in what is being taught. Children are more motivated to learn if they have success in what they are being taught. Children are more motivated to learn if they understand how what they are learning benefits them. It is my feelings that all 3 of these needs of children are met in this writing training video. Teach a child to write. There is nothing more exciting than to see children's imaginations come alive and be able to express themselves in the written language. Children can become amazing authors. They just need to be taught how to write, given the tools to write, and then let them be free to express themselves. Classroom centers provide students with a variety of ways to read and write. After a student's morning work was completed, choices were offered. Computer program on space travel. The students would write about where they traveled and what they learned. Write and send a letter with return correspondence. You've got mail. A life-size mailbox was used to provide for a student to write to their parents' authorized correspondence with relatives that live outside of Utah. An addressed open envelope with the student's letter was sent home for parents to approve and mail. Newspaper article. Students use a form to answer the standard questions and wrote about their school's events. They took pictures which went with the articles. Evaluate another student's published writing. Last month's writing assignment was placed on a magazine rack. Students were free to choose and fill out the provided evaluator form. Never-ending story. A private, wide-ruled notebook was provided for each student to write whatever they chose to write about. These writings were never public unless a student published the content. More Classroom Center options. Dear Time. Drop everything and read. Students can choose to sit in a reading corner and read with a whisper phone, and either write a summary to be turned into the teacher or a book report to be presented to the class. World traveler with a passport stamped to document where they traveled. Students read in a classroom encyclopedia about a country of choice and write about what they learned about that country. Research project. Students choose a topic of interest and writes what they want to learn and how they plan to present it to the class. I provided all the materials for their research and presentation. Monthly writing assignment. Students choose to write on their monthly writing assignment. Time is given for this assignment besides center work. Heroes. Students choose to write about a person that has made a positive difference in their lives. These writings are displayed and shared on the classroom website.
Supplies to get started. Classroom dictionary with 3 by 5-inch index cards. Made with a poster board with alphabet-labeled envelopes attached. All letters except the letter X. Each child's own never-ending story. A wide-ruled one-subject notebook. An individual dictionary and thesaurus. A folder with pockets with plenty of 3-hole wide-ruled lined paper.
One of the most time-saving and useful tools I ever used in my classroom was the classroom dictionary. It is simply made with a poster board with envelopes attached with a letter of the alphabet on each envelope. I purposely left off the letter X because of the lack of use. Inside each envelope is a blank 3 by 5 index card. The classroom dictionary is used by individual students to enable them to be responsible for spelling their words correctly. When they need a word, they check to see if the word is on the card. If the word is not on the card, they take the 3 by 5 index card to an adult to have the word written on the card and return the card to the classroom dictionary. The advantage is that the word is written only once.
Never-ending story. Use the wide-ruled notebook to write when starting a new writing project or when required classroom work is completed. Important rule. No one is allowed to read the content of an individual's never-ending story unless it is made public.
An individual thesaurus. This reference is used by students to find stronger verbs, adverbs, and adjectives to increase better meaning to their writing. I often express to the children that I am interested in being shown and not just told about something. I use examples of what I mean about being shown. If the story is talking about someone walking in a park, I walk across the classroom and demonstrate what that looks like. Then I saunter, ramble, roamed, and marched across the classroom floor and discussed the difference that language makes, and that words can increase a visual image by choosing the correct word in describing how the person is walking.
A 3-ring plastic folder with pockets. This folder contains a list of 200 high-frequency words, the student's writing project, 3-hole wide-ruled line paper, and the mapping and other organizational materials prepared for the writing assignment. Items needed for editing. To avoid rewriting. Scissors, used to cut the paper and put it where it belongs. Tape and glue stick, used to put the cut paper where it belongs. Black, red, and green colored pencils, used to edit the beginning of sentences. Circle each beginning sentence with black and change if the sentence begins the same as the other sentences in the paragraph. Use red to circle verbs and their adverbs to improve the words used. Use green to circle nouns and their adjectives to improve the word used.
How to avoid rewriting a paper when editing. The first way is much like we edit when in a word processing program on a computer. We cut and paste. This is the reason for scissors, tape, and glue. The second way is to number 1, 2, etc. Places where you are inserting words, sentences, and paragraphs. You put a number where you want the inserting words to go. And at the end of the paper, you write what you want to insert with the same number. Important fact: having to rewrite a paper discourages a child from writing a paper.
Teaching the process of writing. How to write a sentence. Sentences are made up of subject and predicate. Subject, someone or something, a noun. Predicate, doing something, verb. Verbs determine present, past, and future tense. Nouns and verbs must agree, singular or plural. How to write a paragraph. A paragraph is made up of one topic sentence with 3 or more supportive sentences. The first sentence is indented. The following sentences say something about the first or topic sentence. Teach sequencing. When listing the sequence of events, first, second, next, finally, or first, next, then, and finally.
How to methodically teach children to write a good paragraph and at the same time improve their reading comprehension. During their 20 to 30 minutes of nightly reading assignment, they are taught a focus which they write a paragraph on the first thing every morning. They find a corresponding form on their desk to use for the first writing assignment of the day. These paragraphs are edited immediately by an adult with the child. Classroom adult volunteers help with this process. Summarize what was read. This is the first focus taught to the children. What personal experiences have the children had to what they are reading? This focus is taught during small reading group instruction. Ask a question, predict a plausible answer, and read to see if the answer is correct or not. This focus is taught during small group instruction. Think about other books with similar information. What information was brought to their nightly reading? This focus is taught during small reading group instruction.
Teach the difference of fiction and nonfiction. Fiction, literature in the form of prose that describes imaginary events and people, something that is invented or untrue. Nonfiction, prose writing that is based on facts, real events, and real people, something that is based on truth.
Mapping out a writing project. This is when I teach the students the basic elements of a story. Title and description of the plot, name and description of main character and 2 other minor characters, list events and describe settings. There are other traditional mapping and webbing forms that are effective in helping children when organizing their thoughts and helping to sequence the events in their writing.
Teach writing genres. When the teacher reads to the class, read books on the same genre as the writing assignment. Autobiography, an account of a person's life written by that person. Biography, use an inquiry form to gather information on a person of interest. It is an account of a person's life. Mystery, a piece of fiction usually with the solution of a mysterious crime. I only have children write about someone and something being lost. Historical fiction, use an inquiry form to gather information on a person of interest. Fiction that is set in a real place during a culturally recognizable time, mixed with the author's imagination. Science fiction, fiction based on imagined future scientific or technological advances.
Use a provided form for the student to use in gathering information about a person when writing an autobiography, biography, or historical novel. Name of the person being interviewed. Description of the person being interviewed. Looks, age, and other needed descriptions of when the event took place. Location of the person when the event or events took place. Recount the event or events. Teach writing genres. Writing newspaper articles. Answer the questions. If the teacher can provide a camera for the student's article, it will enhance their writing experience. Who, what, when, where, why, how. As an elementary school teacher, my students produced a school newspaper. In the lower grades, the news articles were posted outside my classroom. And when I taught the upper grades, my students produced a newspaper called Brosnahan's News that was distributed within the school. Writing a research paper. Have the students write about their favorite animal. Use a manila folder with 6 envelopes attached to gather information on characteristics of the animal, habitat of the animal, food of the animal, family life of the animal, predators of the animal, and interesting facts about the animal. See the example of the manila folder on the next slide. Use a manila folder with envelopes to help the students organize their research paper. An envelope attached to the manila folder titled Description. An envelope attached to the manila folder titled Habitat. An envelope attached to the manila folder titled Food. An envelope attached to the manila folder titled Family. An envelope attached to the manila folder titled Predators. An envelope attached to the manila folder titled Interesting Facts. Place a minimum of 4 3x5 index cards in each envelope. Each index card should have one fact on the subject about the animal. After all envelopes are filled with at least 4 facts about the subject, then a paragraph can be written about those facts. The paragraphs will make up the research paper.
Poetry. Rhyme schemes are the specific patterns a poem follows at the end of each line. A, B, A, B. The people along the sand all turn and look one way. They turn their back on the land. They look at the sea all day. Robert Frost. A, B, B, A. Limerick. There was a young lady of Lynn who was so uncommonly thin that when she essayed to drink lemonade, she sipped through the straw and fell in. Anonymous. AABB. Couplet rhyme. I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Dr. Seuss. ABCB. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Langston Hughes. Free verse. There is no specific rhyme scheme, number of lines, or stanzas.
How to teach the elements of an argumentative right. Use the acronym RACE. R. Restate the question. A. Assess the facts. C. Counter the opposition. E. End with restating your conclusion. The students are paired off and choose what their argument is about and which side of the argument that they want to defend. Some of the fun arguments have been about whether or not there should be more recesses during the school day, or whether or not the lunch time was long enough and should be extended. During our monthly author tea, we hold the debate, and each side of the teams has a chance to defend their position.
How to organize a student's individual need for help. Quick question. Students write their names under the sign that is placed on a chalkboard or whiteboard. Students are responsible for removing their names once they have had their need satisfied. Conference. This is required when the students want to have their writing go to publishing. Final step in the writing process. Students write their names under the sign that is placed on a chalkboard or whiteboard. Students are responsible for removing their names once they have had their need satisfied.
Steps in the publishing process. Rough draft. Don't worry about spelling errors. Just get your ideas down on paper. Editing. To edit, you must correct spelling, punctuation, and sequencing. Circle beginning sentences in a paragraph to assure that the sentences begin in a different way. Circle verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Seek stronger and more meaningful words. This is when the students use the colored pencils and thesaurus. Final draft. Have your story or research paper typed by an adult if it cannot be typed by the student. Complete a title page with an illustration. This is when you seek a conference with the teacher. Turn in the final draft and title page. Publishing. The teacher laminates the title page and binds the written word. Optional. Take a picture of each child and have them write about themselves. Include about the author in each monthly published writing assignment along with the publishing date. If you have a classroom website like Brosnahan's browser, uplink a couple of those writing assignments each month to increase readership. Make sure each child gets the opportunity to have one paper on the web. The students read the written work at the author's tea and allows others to read the final published paper and receive the opinions of others.
A student evaluates another student's writing. These evaluations are given to the author for consideration for future writing assignments. Name of the student evaluator, name of the author, name of the writing project. What I still want to know, the evaluator must be specific. The evaluator rates the sequencing of the write. 1. Very good sequencing. 2. Good sequencing. 3. Needs improving. What the evaluator likes about the writing. The evaluator must be specific. Author's Tea. A celebration is held once a month. 1. Provide a microphone for the authors to speak into while reading their writing project. 2. Provide individual treats and drinks, store-bought individually wrapped or in containers. Be aware of allergies for each student to enjoy while listening to other authors.
Teach a child to write. You will find nothing more exciting and rewarding than when you witness how confident and amazing authors that children can become.
A pamphlet for this presentation can be downloaded by going to our website, teachingstrategiesthatwork.com. We want to thank you for joining us on this training video on teaching a child to write. We hope you will join us on 3 other training videos: teaching a first-time reader, teaching a child to read who reads below grade level, and how to improve a child's reading fluency and comprehension.